Hey Rob, no one ever asked me. I just bought a brand new Evercade. I was wondering what 5 cartridges would you recommend buying first? Hey there, real gamers, and all you gatekeepers out there, keep that gate locked. Don't let those fake gamers in with their fake games. Welcome to Retro Rob Plays Everything. In case you're not really big on context clues, I'm Rob, and welcome to the channel. Anyway, just a quick reminder if it's your first time, if you're playing games that are real, you're a real gamer. It's pretty easy, really. Don't make it hard on yourself. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about 5 Evercade cartridges that I think everyone should get as their first 5. And that last statement was a big lie. And the reason I say that is because gaming preferences are very personal. And I always, you know, if you hate RPGs and I recommend an RPG, obviously they're not the top 5 for you, right? It's not going to be one of the cartridges you want. But I think all 5 of these cartridges are very solid. And when taken together as a group, they provide a lot of value in a lot of different games, and that's why I picked the 5 that I picked. So if you're wondering, but if you got your favorite top 5, hey, let me know in the comments down below, because I'm always interested in that. And also if there's anything you're looking forward to. I was thinking about doing another video like this too, where I talk about games I'd like to see on there, because I got a list of those as well. Some of them being probably pretty difficult to do, but all within the realms of possibility. So keep an eye out for that. I might do it if there's enough demand for it. Anyway, yeah, let's get started with number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5 is Atari Lynx Collection 1. And the reason why I chose this one is because every time I do an emulation video, somebody points out something incorrect about the emulation. They're like, oh yeah, this is wrong, blah, blah, blah. You should have perfect emulation. If you're off the hardware, there's no such thing as perfect emulation, and the reason for it is you don't have the same controls, you don't have the same feel of the device in your hands that you do. Those games were designed and played on that device, and that's just the best way to play any game. So I don't really look in emulation for perfection. I look for whether it's fun. In the case of the Atari Lynx, I really think you are almost always better off emulating it. I've got an Atari Lynx, and I mean, it's like, it's not that I hate the device. I like the Atari Lynx. It's great. If like somebody tries to steal it from you, you can bludgeon them with it. But honestly, given the screen, you can get an upgraded screen. The size of it, the way it eats batteries, you're really better off emulating it anyway. And it's not terribly expensive to collect for, but you know, the collection you get here, 17 games, you're probably best off just playing it on the Evercade anyway. Why this collection? It's got a wide variety of games. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got some puzzle, it's got some adventure, it's got some platformers, just a little bit of everything. Anyway, there's also some homebrew on there, by the way. The highlights of this one, Scrapyard Dog, which in my opinion is just a great Atari platformer. It's like the epitome of Atari platformers is Scrapyard Dog. It's enjoyable. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of cutesy, and it's sometimes hard and frustrating. Perfect. Exactly what I'm looking for from Atari. Crystal Mines 2, which is, it's kind of a puzzle digger. I guess they call them diggers now, right? And that's really good. It's got a little bit of collect 'em up to it as well. Very enjoyable game. And then Super Asteroids and Missile Command are on this as well. And Super Asteroids and Missile Command is basically some remakes of their classics, but those remakes only appeared on the Atari Lynx, so this is really your only choice. Well, I mean, you can obviously emulate it, but your only choice to legally play them on a handheld the way they were really born to be played. So that's pretty nice, you know? No complaints there. They're worth checking out for sure. And again, like I said, wide variety of games and some really good standouts here. And again, better than playing on the original hardware. So that's number 5.
Number 4.
My number 4 pick is, and by the way, these aren't in a very definite order, Pico Collection 1. Pico Collection 1 makes the list because it's got 20 games on it of the 8 and 16-bit eras, but it isn't really the fact that it's got so many games. It's that it crosses a whole lot of lines. I mean, there is a little bit of everything on here. There's RPGs such as Draken and Legend of Magic Warrior. Hello, Studio Nerd Rob here, and I just want to point out that that's pronounced Draken, not Draken. Draken. With an A, like pain. There's racing games. Well, there's one racing game on there. There's platformers. There's beat 'em ups. There's a classic fighting game on there. I mean, there's just a little bit of everything. Some of my favorites on here is Top Racer, which in the US was known as Top Gear. Really great little racing game. On one of their on their next collection, actually, they do Top Gear 2, which is a little bit better, but still, it's a great game. There's Gym Power, the platformer that kicks my butt every time I play it. And that game, by the way, that's worth the cost of the cart because it is $20 on Steam alone. So that's a really pretty decent game. Also, there's Dork and Yimp, which I did a live stream on, and that one kicked my butt. So that's another high point in there. But there's just so many high points in there. Pico Collection 1 is just great. In fact, I'm almost sure if I was trapped on a desert island with only one Evercade cartridge, that'd probably be the one I'd have to pick.
Number 3.
Number 3 is Megacad Studios Collection 1. They've had 2 collections, by the way, on the Evercade, this one being the stronger, in my opinion, of the 2. I absolutely love this collection. Megacad Studios is really pretty well known for their puzzle platformers, although they do some other classic games. And the top 3 picks, I think only one of them is a puzzle platformer for me. But anyway, we'll go over that in a minute. One of the big reasons for this is again, there's a variety and there's a lot of gameplay here. But also, these games probably cost, well, most of them cost more than $20 a piece just to buy them outright anyway. So you're getting, how many is that? Oh, how many's in here? Way to research this, Rob. Way to research. How do I not have this? There's 10 games on here. And some of them, again, are better known than others, but I found a couple of gems in here that I didn't know about, and one of them was Old Towers, and that game is absolutely great. No, I do like puzzle platformers, but this one's really unusual. Definitely worth checking out. I've got a video on it. I'm probably playing it right now anyway. There's also the beat 'em up Coffee Crisis, which is one of their more famous games as well. That's pretty decent. That's fun. You beat people up with a bag of coffee. I mean, you can't really beat that. But you know what the problem is? Tanzer is so good. And I had never heard of Tanzer before this. It's a side-scroller. Kind of reminds me of Shadow of the Beast, but I'd rather be playing this game. I'd rather be playing Tanzer than Shadow of the Beast because it's just so well done. And it's not... somebody's going to point out, well, these are not the same type of game, but... the ambiance is similar. Alright, that's it. I'm going to quit struggling with that, but Tanzer is freaking great. You definitely should check that game out. I'd pick that one up alone just to play it, but it's 1 of 10 on here for $20 or less, so, you know, kind of hard to beat. One real quick note, for whatever reason, they put the mega hard 8-bit version of Logjammers on here. My god, that version's hard. I put it on during MGC and just watched people like rage at it. So anyway, there's that too. So you can get enraged. That'll be fun, right? Let's go on.
Number 2.
Number 2 is the Renovation Collection 1. I almost said for Evercade. That's kind of obvious now, isn't it? Anyway, Renovation Collection 1 has 12 games on it. All of them are pretty high quality 16-bit games. All of them, well, not all of them, but some of them are really expensive if you try to actually buy them for the original system. So this is a good chance to get them legally and have a nice physical edition of it. Some of the highlights, Gary's is a space shooter, and it is, well, at least it's possible to get through the first level. No, I'm kidding. It's a fun space shooter. I do like this kind of game. There's a lot of them on the Evercade. I feel this one's pretty well done. It straddles. It's hard enough, but not so ridiculously hard that you're just dying every 3 seconds, which I like. There's also Dino Land, which is a pinball game. It's got some boss battles in it. It's one of the few pinball games. I think there's a couple other ones now on the Evercade, but it's an enjoyable pinball game. It's not perfect. The physics aren't like 150%, but it is fun to play, and it's just kind of a nice lay back and enjoy life game. Which the next pick I'm going to talk about, Arcus Odyssey, is not. It's just a great freaking action RPG. If you haven't seen it before, I've done a couple of videos on it. I made it, I don't know, fairly far into the game, and it is just great. I honestly am sad that I didn't play this back in the 90s when it came out. Or, well, was it late 80s or early 90s? But somewhere around there. Anyway, not 80s or 90s, early 90s when it came out, because Arcus Odyssey is just a great freaking game. Very enjoyable. And a definite good pick. I think we are down to one left. So let's get to it.
Number 1.
And number 1, though these are in no particular order, Galeco Collection 1 on the Evercade. I love seeing arcade games come into the Evercade. And this one is a really good collection. I like all the games on here. I actually have no complaints about any of them other than one of them that I'm going to put as one of my favorites, and I'll come up with that in a second here. I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, first one is World Rally. That is an isometric racer. I do love isometric racers, even though I suck at them. I find them really fun to play. This one, of course, is super hard because you know, it's the arcade version. Arcade games are hard. You can take that as a quote. But yeah, it is a hard game, but it is very fun to play, and you can cheat your way through it by saving, which makes it really, really great. That goes for all these games, because don't forget, you got that save function, which you didn't have in the arcade. Yay! Next is Biomechanical Toy. It's a fun platformer. It's got a lot of variety. What was I gonna say? It's got a lot of var to it. It's got a lot of variety to it. Graphically, just a beautiful game. Fun to play. It's got those sound effects that make kind of bing noises that just kind of trigger you while you're playing a video game. Some games are really good at coming up with sounds that make the game more addictive, and that's one of them. Biomechanical Toy is just fun as heck. And then the last one on that list of top threes. Great wording, Benson. Glass, and this is the one that I have a little bit of a complaint. I understand that times are different now from when these arcade games were made. However, from a historical perspective, changing the pictures that were in the background when they weren't really pornographic in the first place was not the best decision. They were not. You know, they weren't great, but they weren't, you know, like actual pornography. So I question why they would have changed them. However, if you're gonna change them, if they were gonna change them, and they changed them to cats, which is kind of funny, they should have just put cats in the exact same scene. They should have just replaced like the women with cats. That would have been, I'd have considered that an improvement. I think that would have been funny and enjoyable. But anyway, the game itself. It's kind of like a reverse of Kicks. I don't think I've seen gameplay quite like this in other places, but it's pretty addictive. It does have some boss battles in it, which makes it enjoyable. You want to see what the next boss is going to be, and definitely just a great game, and it's very unique on the Evercade platform. So you definitely want to check it out. And that wraps it up for the first 5 games I personally think you should get for the Evercade if you're buying a new one. Or an old one. I guess you can buy a used one. I recommend the same games. Doesn't matter whether it's new or used. I was trying to keep a straight face while saying that, by the way. Failed miserably. I can say a lot of stuff with a straight face, but not that apparently. Anyway, is there any ones that I missed? Obviously missed. Let me know in the comments down below. If you got a top 5, hey, let me know it. I'm curious. And is there anything that is coming out on the Evercade that you're looking forward to? Let me know about it as well. And that will probably influence future videos. Anyway, I want to thank you very much for watching this one. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in a couple days. Bye.